Shabbat Shalom, good Shabbos. It's no question that Jews today are facing the highest levels of anti-Semitism that the modern world has seen. All major statistical bodies have reported that we are at a record high as we move through 2026. And in response to this, I want to share a story that I read this week that comes from 2010. One of the largest outbreaks of anti-Semitism at the time came out of Hungary, where a fascist political group called Jobbik gained immense traction. The group was led by a young man. His name was Chanad Zagedi, and him and his party preached open anti-Semitism and hate towards the Jews. One day, Chanad went to visit his 92-year-old grandmother. She turned to her grandson, rolled up her sleeve, and revealed to him a tattoo of a number on her arm. She looked at him and said, "Let me tell you my story. In 1945, I was liberated from Auschwitz. I was starved, emaciated, and broken. I had no one, and my trauma had convinced me that to be Jewish was a liability. If something like this would ever happen again, the Jews would be the first target. I married another survivor, according to the Orthodox tradition, and we decided we would not impose this liability on our children. We hid our Jewishness, and we started a new life. We had a daughter, and our greatest nachas was that she married a typical, regular Hungarian non-Jew. This meant that we could finally leave behind the horrors of our past. So I want you to know that I am Jewish, your mother is Jewish, and therefore that means you are Jewish." This twist of fate smashed his career, his accomplishments, his future. It was a sledgehammer to his very identity. He was the one explaining to the world why the Jews are evil, and he's the Jew. So he asked his grandmother, "How is it that we never knew this?" And she told him that in the winter, she used to wear long clothes that covered her arms. And in the summer, she would put plaster over her skin to cover up the tattoo. Now suddenly his anti-Semitism, his racism, his fascism was all delegitimized. He immediately called his best friend and told him what he just discovered. And his friend said to him, "Right now, the best thing I can do for you is to come over, take my gun, and shoot you in the head. That's the biggest favor I can do for you." He put down the phone and went straight to his party leaders and filed for a resignation, filed to resign. They didn't accept it. They said, "No, it's good to have a Jew on our side. They're called Pope Jews. We'll have token Jews so we could say it's not anti-Semitism. Look, we even have Jews on our side." He said, "No way." And so the next person he called was the rabbi, the Chabad Shliach in Budapest, Rabbi Shlomo Kovich. And he told him, "Hi, I'm Chanad Zagedi, I'm Jewish, and I want to become Jewish." Now the rabbi thought this was a joke because many anti-Semites, prank him all the time like this. So he put the phone down, he hung up. And so he called again and he told him the story. He said, "I want to meet with you." So the rabbi agreed to have a meeting. When he met him, he discovered, wow, this really is the man. And so he understood. And he said, Chanad, Judaism believes in tshuva. Now we need to learn. We need to start building your future. But it's not just that. Real tshuva means not running from your past, but transforming it. At the age of 32, Chanad had a bris and began learning Torah. A year after the discovery, his grandmother had passed away. So he decided to go to Auschwitz. When he went there, he describes in an interview that "I always felt the Holocaust was not such a bad thing. But now here I am standing at the gravesite of all of my ancestors who were murdered." And he broke down crying. His wife underwent an Orthodox conversion, and all of his sons had brises. Now he speaks at schools and universities about the dangers of anti-Semitism, that you will not create a good life by hating others. So they asked him, "What does your father think of all of this? Your father is not Jewish. What does he think about all of this?" He said, "My father thinks I'm crazy. He asked me, 'Why would you want to be Jewish?' And Chanad responded, 'It's not that I want to be Jewish. It's that I am Jewish. And besides, it's not a curse. It's a blessing. You can't change the color of your soul. Your soul is inherently tied to God.'" The reason I bring this story is because this week we meet Bilaam, who is one of the very first anti-Semites and haters of the Jewish people. He relentlessly tries to curse the Jews, and every word turns into the most beautiful blessings. In fact, the Gemara in Brachas 12b discusses adding these blessings to the daily Shema because of how powerful they are. But this dark prophet of the nations hated the Jewish people to his very core, and yet even he could not evade the truth. There's a parable I want to share with you that I heard from the Yanuka. Someone once asked him, what's the difference between emunah and bitachon, between faith and trust? And he said, it's like this. Let's say I tell you, come with me, let's go take a trip through the desert. And don't worry, I have the money to pay for the trip. If I put the money into my backpack, then you have to have faith that I'll do what I've promised. You have to trust me. But if I walk through the trip with the money in my hand the whole time, you don't need to have faith. You could see that I'm good for it. That's bitachon. You don't need to trust me. It's right there in front of you. That's how we must behave with Hashem. It's written, Gam ki elech begeitz hamavet lo irara ki ata imadi. Even if I walk through the valley overshadowed by death, I have no fear because you are with me. Know that Hashem is good for it. There's one truth in the world. It's Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. There's a Pirkei Avot, it's chapter 1, Mishnah 18, that says that one of the pillars of the world is truth. That at the end of the day, no matter what the anti-Semites say, no matter who may try to slander us or blood libel us, the truth will always rise to the surface. And Hashem can twist fate in an instant to deliver us. As Rabbi Y.Y. Jacobson likes to say, we are emissaries of the divine. Whether it's fear, corruption, deception, it doesn't matter. Because Hashem promises us this week that we are destined to inherit the world. But why? Why would He promise us that? Because in a sea of darkness, we bring light. And in a world of falsehood, we represent the truth. This week, we are called on to fight for truth and to know that there is nothing to fear. Not Iran, not the stock market, not the anti-Semites. Whether you're on the front lines in Lebanon or you're in Buckhead, Georgia, it doesn't matter if it's Mamdani in New York, Ramaphosa in South Africa, or Jeremy Corbyn in the UK. In the words of Bibi, echoing our very parsha this week, if Israel is forced to stand alone, we will stand alone. There is only one truth. If we hold fast to it, learn it, and we use it to elevate the world, we'll merit the ultimate redemption. May it be speedily in our days.